Hey y'all, hey, it's Erin with LizzieandErin.com. Let's get crafty. Today we're going to use some burlap, one of our favorites. We're also going to use some red beads that came off of a wood bead garland from Hobby Lobby over in the Christmas section. We're also going to use this little wooden plaque right here, also from Hobby Lobby, and these come in a pack of 6 at Hobby Lobby. So we're going to use one of those. This is just one of the small wooden planks from Dollar Tree. They come in a 6-pack for $1, and they're 4.5 by 4.5 little planks of wood, okay? Then we're also going to use a piece of plaid fabric that I got from Hobby Lobby. So we're going to use a small piece of that. So let's get started. This is going to be really cute, you guys. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to do a piece of burlap for the backer on my my wood plank here, okay? So first I'm going to cut that out, and it's bigger right now than the square itself, but we are going to trim it up. I'm going to try to be as nice and neat as possible. Kind of want to fray it on the ends a little bit. So I'm trying to go straight. This piece of burlap here is really loose burlap. It's not tightly woven, if you know what I mean. So it kind of moves more, and it's harder to get the lines straight on this kind of burlap. So if you have tighter burlap, maybe use the tighter burlap. It might work better for you. But right now, I'm just trying to get a square cut, okay? And I'll fix it all up in just a second. Okay, so I've got basically a square cut. And so what I want to do now is I want to start fraying it. So you just start pulling out strings just like that around the edges until you're happy with how it has frayed. Just like that. And then also, if your lines aren't completely straight, this is kind of the part where you can fix it as well and get rid of any of that burlap that's hanging over the edge. You can cut and trim those pieces. This is going to be a really cute Christmas ornament, you guys. I love doing Christmas ornaments. They're one of my favorites to do. They also make perfect gifts for, teachers, family, your friends from church. They make the best gifts. And not to mention, they're homemade. So it doesn't get any better than that. All right, so I'm going to glue this down here. I know that it's not as straight as it could be. So I'm going to fix it once it's on here and secure it in place. I'm going to cut and trim the edges now. There we go. Any of that fraying that's kind of hanging over the edges, I'm just going to trim it up. Just give it a little haircut. One more spot there. Okay, now that I've got my burlap on there and I'm happy with it, hang on. Uh-oh, I'm a little too short. It's okay, we'll just fray it a little more. Pull out another strand, there we go. Okay, so there we go. We've got our square covered. And you guys, you can totally paint this wood plank beforehand too. Because I am using, like I said, loose burlap, and you can see through it. So that's completely up to you. I'm leaving mine just the way it is. I like it. So now I'm going to kind of secure down these edges a little bit better. Now that I've trimmed it up, I'm going to secure those down so they're not flopping up. Okay, so there we go. I'm happy with that, guys. So now I need to cut a small square for our next part. So I'm gonna kind of eyeball And I'm gonna use my lines on my fabric to see where I need to cut. And I want this piece a little bit smaller than the square itself. So I'm gonna go down this line right here. Then I'm gonna go, and y'all, there's probably an easier way to do this part, but this is the way that I'm gonna do it. Do whatever works for you. Okay, so there we go. I've got my little plaid square. I'm gonna try to like pull some of that fabric out and kind of fray this a little bit as much as I can. Did I mention I love making ornaments? Okay. There we go. I'm happy with that right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and hot glue my piece of fabric in place here, right to my burlap, right in the center. Again, I'm gonna kind of go around the edges, do a little dab here, a little dab there. If you missed it at the beginning, this fabric right here came from Hobby Lobby. So I am happy with my little square now. So I'm gonna set that aside, and now we're gonna work on our little wooden plaque here that I got from Hobby Lobby. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my plate. I'm gonna use any kind of green that you have, guys. I'm gonna use this Debbie's Design Diary DIY paint. It's what I have. It's called Gypsy Green. It's one of my favorite greens. So I'm gonna paint my little wooden plaque this green color. My original thought was to do red, but because I'm using red wooden beads, that's why I went with green for this part. So I'm just gonna dab on my green paint here. I find dabbing it on there to be easier than painting it, because then when I'm painting it like this, the paint obviously gets all clumped up in between the letters, and then it's just kind of a pain in the butt. So I dab it on there just like that. Coverage is awesome with this paint, guys. I love it, I love it, I love it. Now I'm gonna dry it. My heat gun is from Harbor Freight. And just look at that green with that plaid. This green is perfect. All right, now that that's nice and dry, let's see how this looks. Oh, yes. I love that. Look, the green on the plaid. Oh my goodness. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna hot glue this in place. There's not a lot of places to put hot glue on this. Just try to find the thickest parts and add some hot glue. Then I'm just gonna attach it right here on top of my fabric, right in the center. Hold it down until it dries. Voila. Look how stinking cute that is, guys. I love it. Okay, so now we need a hanger, because this is an ornament. We need a hanger on our ornament. So I'm gonna use a piece of twine. I'm gonna kind of nice big long piece. Tie a knot here at the end so that your beads don't fall off. Whoop, and tie 2 knots. And then I always add a dab of hot glue at the other end where I'm going to string on my wooden beads. I put a little dab and then I just twist it. Once it cools a little tiny bit, I start twisting the end of it, and it basically just makes a point. So you can string on your wooden beads and not worry about your twine fraying on you. So So let's string these guys on here. And you know what? I was going back and forth on this idea. I'm going to tie a knot in between each wooden bead. I just feel like it gives it a little something extra. There we go. See? Another thing that I do when I'm putting up the beads on the twine is when I go to push them through the hole, I kind of do it in a twisting motion. Uh-oh. That knot. I'm a little too far away from the beads. Let me move that down. Okay. There we go. Just like this. I just twist it through like that. Another thing that I was told, a little tip, is that you always use an even amount of wooden beads when you're using them for a hanger. That way it hangs evenly on whatever you're hanging it on, whether it's a wall, whether it's a tree, a nail. Always do an even number of beads when you're using them for a hanger. So we've got 5 on there so far. There it is. This makes 6. And I actually think we might be okay with 6. Let's see. Yeah, guys, I think 6 is going to work perfect. Yeah, let's do it. So I'm just going to hot glue the twine right here to the back of my wooden plank, both sides. I'm also going to get a craft stick and run it across the back here to cover up that part. Just kind of makes it a little nicer and neater. Gives it more of a clean look. These are just craft sticks, guys, from Dollar Tree. See what I mean? Much cleaner. Okay, so now I'm going to cut off this extra twine here at the end. I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to put a strip of hot glue right there. I think that'll do it. But you guys, I don't know that I would add anything else to this. I think this is stinking adorable. Let me see how a piece of raffia looks. Let's just see if we like it. We may not. I don't hate it. Let's tie it off and maybe we'll try it there at the top. The raffia does pair really well with this. Oh, what about there at the top? I think I like it at the top. Let's do it. At the top of our tree. guys, I think this is all done. I love how this turned out. We used burlap, we used plaid, we used our wooden little Christmas plaque from Hobby Lobby. We used the redwood beads also from Hobby Lobby. We used a 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch wooden plank from Dollar Tree. They come in a 6-pack. We used a craft stick from Dollar Tree, twine, raffia, hot glue, and we have an adorable ornament to give as a gift for Christmas. I hope that you guys enjoyed this craft as much as I did, and I hope y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.